Alrighty, good morning, YouTube. Hold on, let me adjust the camera. That was a really bad one. Alrighty, good afternoon, not afternoon, morning, YouTube. This is Hajim Zero here, back with another quick movie review. This one was very, very interesting. This movie is titled HAVOC. Stars Anne Hathaway, Bijou Phillips, maybe butchering her name, Michael Biehn from Terminator that played Kyle Reese. Who else is in this? Channing Tatum, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and this thing is shrinking again. Let me see if I can put this up. Keep it there. And Freddy Rodríguez, Raymond, Cruz, and it's written by I think it was a film student or operator or something like that, named Jessica Kaplan, who technically passed away when this movie came out. But Anne Hathaway did this movie right after Princess Diaries, and I really love her performance. It was one of those roles where you can say it's the complete opposite of what you would see her in. And it's technically about, a couple of rich white kids trying to, who are very bored with what they do and they want something more exciting. And unfortunately, it leads them down, well, two girls in particular, down a very bad path. The good thing, it's more of a moment like I use this as a joke. I don't know if you guys know that Cash Me Outside girl who got her ass whooped. It was, and when in one of the videos, if you freeze frame it, you can tell like, oh shit has gotten real. It's pretty much what this story is. And on top of that, the characters, most of the kids, they were posers. They want to talk black and just do this raunchy stuff. But when the consequence came down to see the real raw and reality, that's when the main character played by Anne Hathaway, named Allison, realizes, oh shit, I can't be doing this. Also, Mike Vogel is in this movie that plays her so-called boyfriend, even though she was sleeping with, you know, um, the Latin drug dealer played by Freddy Rodríguez, and kind of hitting on the cameraman who was making a documentary film. But pretty much, it's her, Bijou Phillips, and they go to the East LA gang and they want to join, and pretty much they have to sleep with the members of the gang, to be initiated. And that's when it had got too real, at that point, because they realized it was technically a gang rape that they were going to do on them. And Allison backed down, but when it got really intense with her friend, all of a sudden she didn't want to do it anymore. Yeah, and then later she had tried to say that dude had raped her, and this is very, very dangerous. And it was shocking to me with the character of Allison, what she did in telling the truth, because you know not to put race on it that much, because black women do this too. Yeah, if it's a white chick or someone who is rich and they go to the hood and they do something like this, and then they regret doing it, and it's kind of like with the Me Too movement, thing a little bit, where some of these women, they're saying, yeah, I knew him and we consented to sex, and it's a few cases where it was just a bad date and they want to say it was rape to cover it up. Yeah, and to me, that's not really cool. There's only like one story I can think of in particular. It was with that comedian named Aziz, where that situation had happened to him. And even some women were saying, yeah, bad date doesn't mean it was rape, because if you consider to performing oral sex, and then if I at least ask you going all the way and then you say yes and it was terrible, now you trying to lie to cover it up. Yeah, come on, really? And you know, don't get me wrong, there are cases where women are being sexually assaulted, even men who are sexually assaulted, and the shit is true, because other people have come out and said the same thing in similar detail to what the person did. And even with this story, it's parallel to a lot of coming of age films and other situations. Alpha Dogs come to mind, if you ever seen that movie, um, where they technically didn't have to do something, and they did it anyway. The only difference that, you can say those characters were talking black or whatnot, but that was a real story that actually happened. that particular kid, he was listed on Interpol's top. He was like the youngest person, on their wanted list because he had killed a kid and had fled the country because he was a drug dealer. I think he was a drug dealer. But his dad was a known mob boss and he was rich. He thought he can get away with the shit, and he eventually got apprehended. This indirectly also reminds me of another recent coming of age film I had saw recently. It was called Kids, and it was really heavy on when I noticed that the parents are never really around. And in that story, it was the same thing. It was drugs, it was sex, it was a little bit of violence, even though the violence wasn't that heavy in that movie. But yeah, the reality of spreading HIV, it was a real thing. Same thing with this scenario. If you go to the hood, what did you even expect was gonna happen? And even though the Latino, the main two Latin gang member characters in this movie, Raymond Cruz and Freddy Rodríguez character had a little bit more heart because he didn't force him at gunpoint to do anything. They came to him, and he even told him in the movie, yeah, everything about you was fake. Your walk, your clothes, the way you talk, and it was true. And me personally, yeah, even if they were black, I don't like people who are posers at all because when a scenario is real, yeah, and even some hardcore people will even say it'll take a second for them to react to the whole situation, what they would do and not do. And yeah, Allison's character and her best friend Emily, yeah, they weren't prepared for that whole situation. And with Bijou Phillips' character, even though I heard that she was a little bit of a bitch anyway, the actual actress, because she was on that movie Bully, and she was, let's just say her behavior wasn't very professional to what she did to one of her co-stars. But it did translate really well with this character on screen because what she did, it seemed like she would do for real. You're a pretty blonde, white chick, and you're asking, I want hardcore sex, and then when you don't like it, all of a sudden you want to say, yeah, this person raped me, sexually assaulted me to cover it up. Yeah, because you had got violated and you didn't like it. Well, again, what did you expect? And again, I really like I said, with Allison's character, even like I said, I was even shocked because she had told the truth, what had happened. And I think the events in the story, it pretty much that had happened right when the gang member had told her that you're fake, and then realized, you know what, yeah, you're right. And right after that, that's when she found out her best friend, yeah, was saying that she had got raped by this dude, and the police went and had picked him up. And I'm like, it sucks that the police didn't even question the fact, like, what were you doing with him anyway? Like, they didn't question, how did you meet him? You know, because she had told the truth. They had technically went to them, and wanted to hang out with him and X, Y, and Z. And then I'm glad in like what was it, the last 15 minutes of the movie, of the third act, she completely changed. She said, "That's not who I am." You know, um, I'm gonna get on with my life in X, Y, and Z. The only real tragedy of the movie was with the boyfriends who had got killed because they had found out what had happened. They would try to avenge them. And the funny thing, they went to the hotel, but the gang members weren't there. But the gang members at the same time went to their neighborhood to look for the Allison chick. They didn't find her because the police had threatened them. And then when they were going back on a certain street of intersection, swapping it into each other's hoods, that's when they realized who they were, and they end up shooting them. Yeah, so uh, Freddy Rodríguez's character wasn't in that scene, but Raymond Cruz's character was, and I think he recognized the white boy, yeah, who was with the girls doing the whole drug deal thing earlier in the movie, because it was left up to interpretation. And you know, uh, I really recommend. Well, someone recommend this film for those badass kids that want to do shit like this, especially the girls. If you see the Scared Straight, episodes, this is a perfect example of it. Even though it's Hollywood glamored, but at least it is a reality story. The only difference, of course, is that none of the girls had got hurt. you know, like I said, I give Allison a lot of credit, you know, with her character. She got her friend out of there and she told the truth when she had tried to lie, saying that they were raped, gang raped by him, and it wasn't true, you know. And Allison was so calm about it when she realized what was going to happen. But like I said, I love Anne Hathaway's performance in this. Like I said, she did this right after Princess Diaries. And of course, she does flash a little bit of skin in this. And, you know, I'm glad where her career went. You know, like I said, I always liked her acting even before I think she got the attention in Dark Knight Rises and a few other films. And I hope to see her in more movies, you know, doing characters like this because, you know, of course, you don't have to flash any skin or be a little bit of a whorish character, but I would like to see her like do a somewhat of a corrupt politician or you know, like a character from The Walking Dead whose ideology has completely changed, you know, something like that where it's hardcore. But that's pretty much all I have to say about the movie. Again, and shout outs to the you know, to the condolences of Jessica's family, you know, the girl that wrote this movie, you know, it just blows. It sucks, you know, when people have that talent and they're just taken away, you know, from this earth. But you know, beside all that, hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.